In the last few days, I've been asked by a few reporters I've talked to about how these new tools that the president-elect used in his campaign will be used in the presidency. And what I've thought about is that it is really true. I mean, in the way that FDR revolutionized the relationship between the president and the American people in his day by using radio, there is no doubt that the president and the next administration are going to radically reinvent the relationship between leaders in the United States and people both here domestically in the United States, citizens here, and people around the world. Let me give you four sort of concrete examples of the way we can be thinking about this. First, I mean, don't we think that he's going to replace right away the traditional radio address with some kind of YouTube address, a video every Saturday morning that can be accessed by people here in the United States and around the world, and eventually there'll probably be 8 or 10 versions of it translated into Mandarin and Farsi, into Spanish, into French, into Arabic, into the great languages of the world, so that people, no matter where they live, can actually hear from President Obama on a weekly basis. Second is, can't you imagine that every press briefing that's done by any administration official ever is live webcast around the world? Why not? I mean, the technology is simple and it's cheap, and it's not just the daily White House briefing, but every briefing. Third is, I keep thinking about the weekly cabinet meeting, and I think you're going to hear the cabinet officials coming in and comparing notes on how many reads they had and how many comments they had on their blog post that week, and how many views do they have on their YouTube channel that week. And can you imagine the DHS secretary and the HHS secretary sitting there and comparing, how many comments they had on their blog? I think you're going to see competition inside the Obama administration among the main cabinet officials for how they're using these new tools to reach the constituents they're trying to reach. And fourth and finally, I think that one of the most important things that we can imagine is that President Obama will be coming into the White House with more supporters and more modern tools to mobilize them for his agenda than any president probably in history. It's going to be remarkable to see what happens when there are members of Congress or groups that get in the way of this incredible machine as he tries to pass his 100 days agenda. And I think that you're going to see that President Obama, with these modern tools, will be a towering figure in Washington in the early days. And, his relationship and power relative to Congress will probably be as great as at least since Ronald Reagan, and maybe as great as FDR. So, just some observations here on this Friday. There is no doubt in my mind that that President Obama is going to radically reinvent the relationship of the presidency and its relationship to the American people. But finally, my final point is that I think one of the most interesting things is how this is going to work out globally. 5 billion people will have cell phones, by 2011. In the lifetime of this presidency, in the length of this presidency, there will be really truly a ubiquitous global communications network. Every citizen of the world will be able to eventually watch live and real-time video coming from the White House. So when the president speaks in the future, it won't be just speaking to the American people. He'll be able to reach into the hearts and minds of people around the world as never before. I'm sure for some governments that will be reassuring, for others not so much. And it's going to really change the relationship of our presidency to the world's people, not just to the people here in the United States. Some Friday afternoon thoughts. Have a great weekend all. It's obviously been an exciting week. Take care.